Good morning. Welcome to Saturday Morning Comic Talk. This is a show where I talk with top creators about whatever the heck I thought up in the middle of the week. So, today we have some good questions lined up, and we have one more guest popping in. I knew we had our fourth. So, all right.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good morning. We're going to start things off like always with intros. So, John, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been writing comics for pretty much forever. I started back in the black and white boom, back in the indie days. I've worked for Kitchen Sink, Innovation, Malibu Comics, a bunch of the indie comics back then. Now I've kind of started doing a lot more self-publishing under my own imprint, Diebold Comics. But I still work with other publishers. I've been doing some work with Antarctica Press and a few other smaller indie publishers. But most of my work has been coming through Diebold. I think I'm up to the last comic I just sent to the printer is number 26. I think I've done 26 comics through Diebold Comics.
Wow. Nice. I haven't yet done 26 comics at all, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
Some
of that is like reprints of the stuff that I did back in, through Kitchen Sink and some of the other companies, and then about half of it's that and half of it's new stuff. So
okay.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Max, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Max Ferrada. I'm based in Australia, and 26 comic books is just so out of reach for me right now. I only started around COVID, and I'm coming up on 3 volumes of my comic book Stellar Lands, which is in its final 3 days on Kickstarter.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. And yeah, I did 3 volumes. That's nothing to be ashamed of. A lot of indie creators, especially, they get one and they realize, holy shit, this is expensive and time consuming, and I'm out. So to get to 3 is 3 more than a lot of people ever make it to. So
well, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful. I have incredible help and from podcasts like you guys, but it's more of a like an effort thing. It really drains you, but that could be said of any creative enterprise, of course.
That is true. Yeah. You can't deny that it's draining, but we're still here, so that shows that there's a love for the medium. So draining or not, we're still out here making our stuff. So Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself.
How you doing? My name is Matt Knowles. I'm one half of Insymmetry Creations. We have got our Kickstarter up right now for Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress #3. We are super psyched about this series, about the performance of the campaign right now. We also are psyched about the fact that we've got the one, the only Efren Ramirez, a.k.a. Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite, that is going to be a guest in this issue as a character. That's where we're going to start from.
Yes. So, wait. When we get to the campaign, I'll ask you, because I'm thinking like, all right, where does he fit in the universe? Because I've read 1 and 2. I got them right here, and it's like, all right, where's Pedro fit in? I guess he could be anybody, but yeah, you've piqued my curiosity, and I'm sure that's why you got him. You want to pique people's curiosity and make them buy it for that sake, but I'm buying it because I like the series, so it wouldn't matter if Pedro were in it or not. I'm here for Tatsumi, and that's good. That's what I want. So, but like I said, that's what we'll talk about in a little bit. We're going to head into our topics for the day. So our first one, kind of coming into, I have a con next week. There's cons right now are more difficult than they have been in the past. It's harder to get people to spend money at your booth. So what do you do to stand out at a con? What are some tricks that you've done to make sure that people stop at your table as opposed to somebody else's? So John, what are some tricks you have to stand out at cons?
I've got a few. I'm always experimenting with, the layout of the table. Part of that depends on how much space I have at a convention. Some conventions I'm lucky enough to get 2 tables, some 1 table. So that's always something. I use a lot of banners. I've got probably about half a dozen different banners that I'll rotate around to just draw attention to it. And it's always like putting books up, moving them. It's always experimenting with that. Also, I'm not behind my table. I'm in front of the table standing. So when people walking by, I can talk to them. It's because it's too easy to sit behind that table and just kind of ignore people. I'm in front of the table. One of the best things I've done as far as trying to grow my email list, is I printed an 8-page comic, Marie Laveau, and I give it away free if you sign up for my email list.
Okay.
And I made a banner for that, and it's that banner attracts more attention because Marie Laveau, especially I'm from the Louisiana area, New Orleans, and Marie Laveau is the voodoo queen, so that attracts a lot of attention. People will see that name and just come over to the table just to see what's going on.
Mhm.
So it's helped with my email list because before I did that, trying to make an email list, get people to sign up for my email list was almost impossible.
Yeah.
And it just attracts people to my table. And once I get them over to the table, if they like Marie Laveau, I've got a voodoo comic I sell. I've got so it helps to to get the people over there where I can start talking to them also besides the email list. So, it's hard at comics, and I found especially the bigger the show, I think the harder it seems to be. When they have like Captain America and Thor and those people guest starring. Some of my best shows lately have been library shows. I've been doing a lot of library shows. I make more money, I think, at a library show than I do at a lot of conventions. And most library shows are free, and people coming in there that want to read. So you kind of got a captive audience to begin with.
Yeah, and there's no famous autograph. You're going, if there's a famous person, it's a famous author that they're going because they have intentions to read. And yeah, I've done some great library cons and book fairs. That's what I've been kind of leaning on lately. And people sleep on those because you want to do the big name cons and you want to be there. But like you said, the bigger the celebrities, the lesser chance you have, because you're going to have people walking around with their one 8x10 that they just spent $400 to get signed, and they're like, that sounds great, but I have no money. We're at a book fair. Everyone who's there is signing for free, and they're the comic people are going to seek out comic tables. The ones that want novels, they're going to look for novels, but everyone that's in there is looking for new material to read. They all have one intention, and they didn't have to pay to get in the door, so all that's money that they can go directly to the table. So I'm with you. Library cons and book fairs, don't sleep on them. And then also little, like the ones that the cities run, like little art walks and things like that. Those are the things that a lot of creators don't think are going to be lucrative, and they end up being the best thing you'll do, because sure, you may make more money at a big con, but it's not more profit, because you have to pay for a lot more costs instead of just lugging your stuff to a library for free and recoup a little bit of gas, although gas is no joke to recoup right now. Might take more than a couple books, but still a couple books and you're in a good place.
Yeah, and also trying to look for more. Like I just did Staple in Austin, Texas, which is more of an indie con, and there's one coming up in Jacksonville next month. That's just an indie con. So I'm trying to stay away more from like the fan expos and those big conventions, and hit stuff that people are looking more for. That they're going to an indie con, they're not looking for the newest Spider-Man or the Absolute Batman or whatever. They're a little more inclined to support something that's from non-Marvel or DC or the big guys.
Yes, definitely. So Max, what do you do to stand out at cons?
Well, I would echo John's sentiments that these smaller, no guest, non-corporate cons are far more lucrative when it comes to the purchasing of actual books. They're not there to cosplay or get Zac Efron's signature or anything like that. It's just they're there specifically for the books in those book fairs, and it might be less fun. I mean, they do serve alcohol in some of the bigger cons, but you get you get more in touch with that specific aspect of the community. So getting attention within those smaller cons is quite easier. And then there's this marketing term called the purple cow. I mean, if you've studied marketing, you've probably heard of this strategy before. If you're driving along the road and you see a normal cow, you're not going to stop. But if you see a purple cow, you're going to pull over and you're going to check out this purple cow. And that's why my publisher, the good guys at Wild North Comics, they have their own cover artists. Well, you can submit your work, but they create their own covers, and they do stand out when they're when you put them on the tables, and it really does the job. Really solid, impactful stuff. There's a between cover art and interior art, there's a whole other like science or a whole other artistry behind it.
Yeah, very true. And you just don't want to be false advertising where if you have a cover artist and then the interior art is vastly different, that's what you got to look out for. But
Yeah.
getting eyes on the table, like I said, be the purple cow. Agreed on that. And do the smaller things, because that seems to be right now, at least we're within the state of cons. Those seem to be the way to go. But Matt, what do you do?
So what I would say is you always have to take the thought of take nothing for granted when you go to a show.
Mhm.
Every single thing that you do could be what brings somebody to your table. Every single thing that you don't do could be the thing that dissuades somebody from stopping at your table.
Mhm.
Something as small as make sure your tablecloth is straight. If you throw your tablecloth on and it's sideways, somebody might be like, oh man, that guy's sloppy. He's not even going to put his tablecloth on there straight. That's not going to make you all the money, but a little thing like that could be something that gets into somebody's head.
Yeah.
We make sure we have pitches for every one of our books on paper on the table so that somebody could walk by and they could just see it and read it without ever talking to you. And then that pitch has already been done before they talk to you. Now, we still do have our times we're talking to people all the time, but some people don't want to come up and be pitched at. Some people just want to be able to do a little drive by or a walk by, see what's there, take a look. Maybe next time they might come back around. Okay, that Tales from Nocturne has stuck in my head. Now I want to go talk to the person. We make sure it's very clear what the bundle deals are. People always want to find a way to have value. Hey, this issue is this much, but if you buy everything in the series, you're going to get this kind of discount on it. As John said, tablecloths, things like that. For us, our main title, foundational title, is a steampunk title, and so we always have a very unique, distinctive dress to how we are at shows. I always wear a top hat. I'm known as Top Hat Matt at the shows. We have custom goggles. Steph and I always dress very similarly, if not look, twinned up. And, you never know what might catch somebody's eye. We'll talk about this a little more later, but something that's very interesting is we were at a show 2 years ago. We were guests at a show in Louisiana, and we were walking to the green room, and Efren Ramirez from Napoleon Dynamite was a guest, and his table was right near the entrance to the green room. He actually stepped out from behind his table and stopped Steph and I, and he's like, dude, you guys look awesome. He's like, tell me what this is about. And just by us being dressed professionally and to the nines and something that was the purple cow, as Max said, got this celebrity to stop us and engage us in a conversation, which has developed into a friendship with him and him asking us to be in one of our comics. That all came from us just dressing a certain way and being professional. So I said, you never know what that thing might be. So never take anything for granted. Make sure you have your pitches, the way you dress, the way you act at your table, looking stuff like Max said on the table, because if you just throw crap out there, you have to ask yourself, what's going to make somebody stop at my table and not the guy next door to me?
Yeah.
What's going to make my stuff be better that they're going to want to spend their time and their money on my stuff in comparison to the next guy? Yeah.
Yeah, because I always say you're a used car salesman in a sea of great used cars. How are you going to sell yours? And then, like Max said, the purple cow, and all those are great things. And I think one of the biggest things is be engaged. And so many of you do some of these, weaker cons, and you get people that just want to gripe. And you kind of try to discourage your neighbors from coming up to you. Oh my God, this is the worst con. And they're just spewing negativity. And then someone walks up to your table and they see you two looking pissed off. Look like you want to be there, even if it's rough. And we've all done rough cons, I'm sure, but make it look like you're having the time of your life. And, have a smile, be engaging. Don't be sitting there like, oh, I'm going to look at my phone and I'm bored. And, people will walk right past you and they'll go for the one that's standing up looking like, hey, I do want to talk to you. And Matt, that is a great idea, having the pitches on the table. I have a tablet that's running the trailers for all of my different books. And when I've had a couple hearing impaired people come up, and I just kind of point them to that. But if I had them written down, that's an even better way to do it, because I've had a few, they're deaf, they can't listen to my pitch, but they're watching the videos, but that takes 3 minutes to get through the 3 videos, where instead it's like, okay, here's this book, here's this book, here's this book. And I will definitely be stealing that idea and bringing it to my con next weekend.
Do it.
That's the thing, is look around you and see what people are stopping for. Because before I ever set up at a con, I went to cons and just took notes, like what tables are getting things. And there's gimmicks. The spinny wheel, it always works, but what are you going to do with the spinny wheel? Free books, John's idea, always works. I mean, people like free stuff.
Yeah.
And if they see a big sign saying, hey, free book if you sign up for the mailing list, they may drop your mailing list the next day, but you got them on it. And they may be too lazy to drop it, and now you have them for life. So yeah, the gimmicks are great, but you don't want to just be pure gimmicks. I've seen people that are just spinny wheels and raffles and everything else, and it's like, what are you actually selling? I know you have a lot of gimmicks, but I love that having the pitch on the book. So I'm going to have to develop that and probably run to work to print, since I don't have a functional printer, but I always have one at work. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah. One thing I will say is, I think that knowing the difference between someone who wants to come up, like we all have had those guys that come up and want to be like, hey, I've got an idea for a comic, and they want to just kick through the whole thing. But knowing the people that want to come up and have a genuine conversation and a connection with you, don't push those conversations to the side.
No.
We had a situation happen one time at a show where these three guys came up to the table, and we were having fun with them. And I mean, if we're not having fun with life, what are we even doing here?
Yeah.
And we were just joking around and having fun and, talking crap with them, and just showed them that we were enjoying the fact that they were there. They walked all the way around the whole con, came back to our table, and they're like, we want to spend money with you. You're one of only 2 or 3 people that actually took the time in this entire building to stop and talk to us like we were people, not just like we were customers.
Yeah.
And because we treated them like genuine human beings and people, they've spent tons of money. We went to the show the next year, and it's a 3-day show. They're like, we literally bought a ticket just for Friday because we wanted to come in and just see you guys.
Wow. That's awesome.
And just came from just having a normal, genuine human conversation, and that they mattered to us just as people.
Yeah, that's great. And it's one of those things that, engagement, making them feel like they're important. And for me, it's hard because I'm very much to the pitch, because I have huge social anxiety, and having it just kind of going through the pitch makes my life easier. It's more a scripted thing, but you hear someone in the middle of your pitch and they're like, okay, stop. And they start asking questions about the book, and they just want to engage you. And then you'll go through and talk to them. And I think they do love that, where it's like, okay, you still talk to me. And then, everyone wants to pitch you their book. And I'll tell them, you have to say, okay, because if someone else walks up, you have to say, okay, excuse me, hold that thought, and I'm going to talk to this person. And that way people don't want to see that you're so engaged in another conversation that you'll brush them off. So yeah, there's so many things. And I think just for me, it's just standing and constantly engaging with people, and then putting something on your table that's different. CGC books work for me because they just bring new eyes to the table, and people, a lot of indie people don't get their books graded, and it does attract attention. So whatever you can do to bring attention. And Matt, you guys have so much cool merch that helps as well, where I'm lacking in that category. You have albums, you have socks.
We did a comic store signing last week in Central Georgia that was incredible. And we legitimately had 30 feet of table space that we were able to pull up easily, and sold basically something out of everything we had up there. We had our high-end collectibles, wood covers, metal covers, things like that in one spot, our typical normal books in one spot, shirts and socks and leather work and metal albums and records and all that kind of stuff in different spots. And, we sold a lot from the different areas, which is good. Now, granted, you don't normally have that much space, so to find ways to condense it down. But when you have the ability to spread that stuff out and have it, it was awesome. It was awesome. There are people just came in just to get the shirts, and we're like, hey, as long as they have some of our stuff in their hand, we made sure they had a business card, which are collectible trading cards on our side. They had our collectible trading card, which is our business card. So even if they just got a shirt, they still had something where they could go and, go sign up for the mailing list or things like that, not just the shirt.
Yeah.
I've added shirts to my table too, and some days the shirt sales are what makes the difference between making me my table or not.
Yeah,
I'm surprised, how well some of those shirts do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I brought in shirts because I'm always wearing a shirt for one of my books, and people are asking, well, where can I get that shirt? I love that shirt that you're wearing, and it's kind of like all these times they're asking me, and I didn't have them, so I thought I'm gonna print not a ton. I printed one of every size, and it's like, okay, every con I go to, I have at least one of every size, and now where can I get that shirt? Oh, right here, they're for sale. So yeah, I think having them for sale where people would see them, comment, love them, and then I say, oh, buy, back my next Kickstarter and you can get them. And that's me letting money walk away. So now I did that. I put out the shirts as well. Space can be tight. So sometimes I'm hanging them on banners, and you got to be creative with space when you get a 6-foot table and you got to smush your best look on that 6-foot table.
Yeah. But that's like, Matt said though about dressing, I have shirts with just my logo on it too, that look like, Diebold Comics. I've got shirts, like you said, with the characters or the covers. And, whenever I go to a convention, I'm wearing a shirt that advertises my logo, my brand. I'm not just wearing a regular shirt, so if I'm walking across the convention floor, people are going to see, at least they're going to know Diebold Comics.
Mm-hmm.
We had a guy come in last week to this comic store signing, and he was wearing some of our stuff.
Nice.
There was another customer, kept looking at this guy, and the guy was wearing a shirt that we didn't have on the table. We didn't bring with us. And he's like, I'm looking at your table. He's like, but do you have any of the one that guy's wearing right there? And I was like, I don't have any with us right now, but I had the inventory of what was back here. I scrolled through really quick. He's like, do you have a small in that one? I said, dude, I've got it right here. I said, if you want to buy it, I will ship that out to you as soon as I get back to Florida.
Yeah.
Dude bought it right then because I could tell him, look, it's right here on the website. We have it. I just don't have it with me. Boom. He got the shirt that he wanted because we had a quick way to go back and look at the stuff we didn't have with us, which really helped.
Yeah. That's a good thing. And I have done a couple of those where I sell out of it at the show because I bring one of each size, but have more at home, or I have a printer that does just direct to garment and I can walk it in and have it for the next day. And I have a shirt that's actually a running shirt because my logo has the running skeleton who's dying at the finish line, and runners see it and they want it because it's in tech material and you can actually go run a race in it. And I'll have runners come up and say, okay, I need to wear that for my next marathon. And I have done that, shipping out to them a lot of times because, with limited stock, you can only bring small amounts, but having them at home and knowing your inventory, that helps as well. So, these are all good ideas. And, next week I'm going to one of the bigger celebrity name cons, but we'll see what happens. There's no library cons to pick from at the moment. But so he says people love shirts. They do. And if you have good shirt designs, people will buy them just because they like wearing them. And the craziest thing, my cousin works at a bank, and she was at the bank and some guy walked in with an Immortal Era shirt. And she's like, oh my gosh. And he's like, I'm a huge fan of this book. And I bought it off of this guy on Kickstarter. And he's like trying to describe the book. She's like, that's my cousin. I know all about that book. But it's like those shirts, people are walking around and wearing them, and people are going to ask, like, hey, what's that? So shirts are great. They're walking billboards for your product and for your book. So gotta love that.
I see Houston Dave. Look at that comment. Collecting shirts is what I like to do. Dave, you need to get up on the Tatsumi campaign.
Yeah.
This shirt right here, this is the Widowmaker shirt. This shirt is on the campaign. There's another shirt called the Golden Dragon. There are other shirts, glow in the dark. Side Quest Tavern shirts, baseball shirts that were in other campaigns that are up there as add-ons. You need to go up there and get yourself one of these shirts since you love to collect those comic shirts, my man.
And that's how you succeed at cons. But yes, and when Immortal Era launches, you'll want to do that. We have 17 designs to pick from.
Heck
Gotta
yes,
collect
man.
them all. So we have 17 designs. Choose your favorite. And
Now, is this
yeah,
17 designs just for that campaign, or 17 designs over time that are still available?
they're overtime that are still
Okay.
available.
I was like, 17 new designs in one campaign. Let's talk offline, Ed. That seems
No,
insane.
no, one new design for this campaign. And the people, I have someone who's bought a shirt from every campaign, and he's bought the variants, and he's got all 17 shirts, and he's in Belgium. So it's some dude in Belgium is rocking all the Immortal Era shit, and I love it. So
That's some commitment too, man, because that's a lot of shipping costs to be able to shipping that from California overseas to Belgium.
it is.
Wow,
I mean, I feel bad when I have to tell him it's going to be $35 to ship, but I found I can squish like 3 shirts into one box and the books with him. So yeah, he's like, no, I want all the designs. So he's one of our guys that's got all 17, and
That's awesome.
hopefully we'll add number 8 or all 16, I guess, and he's going to add number 17 this time. But yeah, if you want to collect shirts, I got you covered. So, and Matt definitely has you covered right now. You don't have to wait. You can get them right this minute. All right, so let's head to our next topic, and we're going to switch things up completely, and we're going to talk about the best video game franchise. So we're not talking about, we did a few weeks ago, the best arcade games out there, but we're talking about video game franchises where they have 3 or more games out there that have been ongoing and in some cases for years and years. So what is the best video game franchise out there? What would you say, John?
I'm going to have to take a buy on this because honestly, the last video game I played was Pong.
Okay. So
I'm not a really big into video games. I never got into them, so I really have no idea what I'd even be talking about.
that's all right. All right. So Max, what's your favorite video game franchise?
Well, I'm not a gameplay guy. I'm more of a story and in its own strange sense, a cinematography guy. Now, the Mass Effect trilogy, the original one, it's like watching a movie. I'm hardly using the controls. The cutscenes are long, very well written. They have voice actors who are exceedingly talented. And it's so immersive, as most video games are. It's really, really immersive, and you just shed a tear at the end. And emotion is probably, it's definitely my biggest metric when it comes to any creative output. And it's a very emotional game. So yeah, Mass Effect.
Yeah, those are great ones, and that's the thing is video games became very cinematic, and you're getting top writers and top actors, and top people doing the score. I mean, you had D'Angelo doing the score for a video game. So, I mean, it's, these it's not something that's a throwaway anymore. People are fighting to get to be a part of video games. So you get something like Mass Effect that feels more cinematic and has emotion, where when you end, you have that depth of emotion. I think the first Last of Us game was like that. It's like, wow, that was a powerful journey that you just took, not just, play the game and keep scrolling along and end it that way. So yeah, frustrating journey if you play some games and you get stuck on a boss or something. But yeah, some of them with these great cutscenes that look great. I mean, the graphics are better than some movies out there now. And yeah, I agree. Mass Effect's a good choice. So what about you, Matt?
For me, I feel like if you talk about the best franchise, I think you have to go with Super Mario Brothers, Mario Kart.
Oh yeah,
there's so many different variations on that. You've got your first person games like Super Mario Brothers and Mario 3, but then you've got the Mario Karts. I mean, there are all the different Mario Karts that you can sit around with a bunch of people and just play tournaments. And my daughter, I always kick her butt in it. I mean, technically she kicks my butt, but I'm not going to admit that other than right now. There's just so many different variables that can bring people in from different environments. It's been going on for so long, and it was such a landmark when it started.
Yeah,
especially when you got to Super Mario 3. That for me, I think that is by a mile the most influential franchise that's out there.
Oh, undoubtedly. That would be my pick, but I had to, of course, come up with alternatives, knowing that someone would grab Mario. But you can't beat what Mario has. I mean, Mario Kart. And you have the Paper Mario, you have Mario Party. I mean, then you have big 3D immersive Mario games. And yes, same thing with mine. When we first got Mario Kart on the Wii, my wife and I were kicking their ass, like, yeah, we're going to teach you kids how to play Mario Kart. Now they just annihilate us. It's not even funny. So it's like, okay, the kids have definitely mastered, and they're switching their cars up. I'm like, wait, why do you even care? I just go with the stock car. They're like, Dad, you'll never win that way. So yes, they learned to take it to a new level. And I just was like, hey, the level was, I'm going to play with this character in this car and not do any kind of thing. So yeah, Mario, it's been there for so many years, and if they dropped a Mario game tomorrow on their new system, it's going to be a top seller because people know, and a lot of people bought that new Switch too just for the new Mario Kart.
Yep.
Because it's that big, it's that good, and this, they're always evolving the games to give people what they want. Like, oh, you want to just fall off the track and see what lies beyond? We have that for you now. So now you can just race around in the fallen area of the track. So yeah, you can't beat Mario. But since you took Mario, I'll go with another franchise that just keeps knocking out great games, and I'm going to go with the Resident Evil franchise, because that was me. Like, Mario was my childhood and the first systems I got, and then Resident Evil was college. That was the first game I bought in college and just got hooked. I'm like, it's like a horror movie on the screen, and I'm playing in it, and it's got jump scares, and it's got all of this fun and immersive stuff, and it was like dropping you directly into a horror movie. And it's been going for years, and I still, like, you get me a new Resident Evil game, I'm gonna play it and love it and never beat it. I've never beat one of the Resident Evil games because I get frustrated at bosses and then I just quit. I'm like, I don't have enough time to dedicate to beating this boss that I've already spent 5 hours failing at. So yes, then I fail and play the next one to get about 3/4 of the way done and quit again. Unless I recruit my daughter. I'm like, I'll call her down. I'm like, hey, I need you to beat a boss. You're the boss master. So yeah, she comes in and beats the boss for me. So I can at least feel the satisfaction of seeing the ending, even if I know I didn't earn it myself. All right, so Halo, that's another good one, Steph is saying. So, and then we have Grand Theft Auto. I mean, some of the other franchises I love, I would go Castlevania. I love those games. And Metroid. I love the Metroid games. Those are ones, they started back when I was a kid. The first Nintendo system I had the first Castlevania, had the first Metroid, and they've evolved those games and still keep making good ones that, yeah, again, I don't finish. I get frustrated too far in. And I call my daughter. She finishes for me. She comes and beats a boss.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. All right, because we must admit that our children are better at us than the games, even if you don't want to, Matt. Your daughter knows.
Oh, my daughter knows. My son, he would play like Super Smash Brothers, and he'd be like, hey, I'm up at UF right now. He's like, tune into this channel because they're doing some streams. There's going to be commentators. And he's like, I'm going to be playing for the championship. And I'm like, dude, there's freaking commentators. They're doing like a play-by-play and a color guy of a Super Smash Brothers tournament. And he's like, I'm going to be the one that's be playing. He's like, I'm going to be playing for the championship. So I'm going to be on the live stream. And I'm like, dude, he's too rich for my blood in that respect, as far as talent goes.
You can get a varsity letter for playing Super Smash Bros. In the esports. So my daughter was in esports in middle school. She's like, oh yeah, Dad, we're traveling to this school to play a Smash Bros tournament. I'm like, man, that's the dream when I was a kid. Like, all right, you're going to go play Street Fighter. Although I've played fighting games since fighting games have been out, and I'm still just a button masher. I still just sit there smashing buttons, and I get yelled at. My daughter's like, Dad, you're just button mashing. It's not even fair if you beat me. Like,
It's not even fair.
Like, find a way to beat the button masher who just presses shit until something works. It's like, I did that move. How? I don't know. Can I duplicate it? Definitely not. But you just lost. So that's that. All right. So we are switching gears again to what is a good soundtrack with a bad movie? So, yes, good family fun for sure. We have fun playing the games together. In fact, I'm playing one of the new Metroid games on the Switch 2, and I'm stuck at a boss, so it's about time to call the boss master to beat it so I don't quit the game like I do with all the other ones. All right. And then what's button, hey. It is the way to play those fighting games. You eventually will do some crazy moves and you'll never know how you did them. You'll never duplicate them, but you'll get to see one of the most exciting things and piss somebody off really bad. All right. So, what is a good soundtrack for a bad movie? So, John, what's your thought on this one?
Well, I don't know if I picked just one, but kind of going back old school, like almost every Elvis movie was a bad movie, but most of the soundtracks were good.
Mm-hmm.
Prince, unfortunately Prince wasn't a great actor, but his soundtracks were
Yeah,
awesome.
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain was like one of the, it was amazing. So that was probably his best movie he did, even though that wasn't, he's not going to win any awards for his acting in that. So,
No.
I'd even reach out and I'm a big Beatles fan, and A Hard Day's Night was one of the best movies like that. But then Help was kind of a mishmash, but the soundtrack for it is, amazing. It's the Beatles, so you can't get it, better than that. I'd even go to I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan, so a lot of his movies have great soundtracks. Top Gun, movies like that. I'm not a big fan of those movies, but the soundtracks are really pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't. I mean, especially if they're going to be big money movies, they get the big names of the time to do the soundtracks. And that I would agree. The first, I can't even sit through the first Top Gun, but I know those songs. I've heard those songs a million times. The Danger Zone and Take My Breath Away. It's like, those are 80s staples in a movie that I didn't see until I was like 48, because someone kept telling me you have to watch Top Gun, and I finally watched it. I'm like, dude, you wasted my time right now. I'm not going to do that.
When I watched it when it first came out in the theaters, because I'm that old. But at the time I was young enough, and I was, it was full of excitement and all that. I liked it. But then, going back and trying to watch it now, it's kind of like, no, I'm not a big fan of it anymore.
Yeah, I think waiting till I was, almost 50 to watch it was not the way to do it. But Flashdance, I don't know the movie. My wife would probably chime in on that one and say that you're right, because I know I've come home and she's watching Flashdance. She comes home and I'm watching some friggin' murder documentary, and I come home and she's watching fun 80s stuff. So yeah, I think she's got it right as far as it goes. She doesn't feel all disturbed every day. All right, so Max, what do you think? What's a good movie, or sorry, reverse that. Good soundtrack, bad movie.
This is going to be a bit of a deep cut, but one of my favorite, if not my favorite composer, is Ennio Morricone, probably most famous for his Good, the Bad, and the Ugly soundtrack, and he won the Oscar for The Hateful Eight, and he did a film in the early 90s about the Trinity test in Oppenheimer called Fat Man and Little Boy, and it was directed by Roland Joffe, and it's just a dreadful film. Paul Newman was miscast in as General Groves, and they got some guy from Star Trek to play Oppenheimer, but the score is just Ennio Morricone classic. It's so uplifting, and it's heavy orchestral without being insistent, and it's just gorgeous. I cannot recommend the movie, but if you do watch it, the soundtrack, the score will be so rewarding.
Okay, so the score's worth it. The movie, not so much.
Yes, no,
I've not heard. I mean, I know him. I know the composer, of course. He's the master of the spaghetti western and everything. But I've not heard of that movie. So I think there's probably a reason. It probably is just buried in time. Everyone in it wants to forget about it.
Yeah, especially since Oppenheimer came out in 2023.
That's true. The Nolan version.
Yeah.
That's the one people remember. They're like, oh, that's that other Oppenheimer movie. They don't want to think about that one.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So what do you think, Matt? What's a good soundtrack, bad movie?
Let me tell you, John gets the square on that one. I didn't even think about Purple Rain, man. And I'm
like, that's a perfect pick.
Really good one. So for me, I picked two movies that I actually like the movie, but there's a critical pan that critically people don't like the movie, but I do. So I'm like, I went with movies that out there people don't like. The first one is Space Jam. Space Jam, a lot of people don't like it, but Seals Fly Like an Eagle from that movie is such
Oh,
an
yeah.
incredible version. And
Mhm.
then for me, I think a movie that's got a really good dark soundtrack that really helps to increase the vibe is Sucker Punch.
Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
I actually really like that movie. I think the movie gets a lot of hate that it shouldn't get. But I feel like the soundtrack for Sucker Punch just really helps to make that movie just so much darker and just more epic than it really should be.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that one, and I agree. I think that movie is fun and entertaining, but I think it's kind of getting the residual Zack Snyder hate, where it just people wanted to hate anything he did for a while. And yes, he does. Like the slow mo gets old and things like that. But I think it's a good movie as well, and it is a solid soundtrack. I hadn't even thought about that one, but yeah, I think like you say, Purple Rain wins it because that is. I don't even think of it as a movie. I just think of it as an album
Yeah.
because it's such a good album. It's a almost flawless Prince album that goes to a pretty shitty movie. So yeah, that
Yeah.
definitely wins that one. Yeah, so Sucker Punch, that's a good one. For me, I went with one I can't get through the movie. I've tried multiple times, and that's Singles. And I love the soundtrack. I've played the soundtrack a million times. I know every song. It's got Smashing Pumpkins, it's got Mother Love Bone, it's got Pearl Jam, it's got Chris Cornell. It is just top to bottom perfect time capsule of the 90s soundtrack for a movie. I keep thinking like I gotta watch this movie. I'm gonna finish it this time. And I get about half an hour in, it's just like, no, it's just not good. And I could play that soundtrack any day of the week. And if you love Singles, I apologize. I know it's gonna get me yelled at if someone out there loves Singles, like my Goonies take, which
I was just
I've
going to
been
say,
yelled at.
I was shocked that you didn't say Goonies because it's got like Good Enough for Me from Cyndi Lauper. I know how much you inexplicably don't like this movie, and I'm like, I thought that you might bring it up on this show.
No, see, I Goonies is just my the place I came to Goonies was bad. Coming to it as 16 on a date that went awry and being told that I have to love it. And don't tell any 16-year-old they have to love anything. 16-year-olds are inherently dicks. It's just how it goes. So, yeah, I mean, and I've revisited it. My wife, after that show, when I got everyone pissed off at me and Fish walked out, Matt had to write me a note on one of the comics I got from him. So I revisited it and I'm like, okay, I can see why people like it. Still not my thing, but I can see why people like it. I can respect the art, but I came at it from the wrong place. Like that is a magical movie for a kid to see. And if I had seen it when I was 10, I would be one of those people that like, yes, this movie helped shape my life. But for me, I never, when you're 10, you got to rely on your parents to get you to that movie. Because I grew up in the desert where the only movie theater we had was the drive-in theater. And it was, I think it was probably 3 screens. And you're going to see the one that your parents want to see more. And my dad was like, that movie looks dumb. I don't want to see that. I don't like pirates. So I didn't go see it. So already it's, you got it tainted because your parents are saying, I don't want to see that one. We're going to go see, Dragon, what was that? Dragon Hunter or Krull or some bullshit like that. Like, yeah, I probably should have seen Goonies. So yeah, you go see one of those and you just miss the one that you should have seen, the one that would have shaped you, the one that you would have been playing in your backyard with your friends, redoing some of the scenes. And instead you're like, oh, I want to get one of those crazy Krull throwing things so I can, chop someone's hand off. So yeah, it's all about how you get dropped into something. So that one, I missed it. And, unfortunately, I will come at it and say I don't dislike it actively anymore. I can appreciate it for what it is. And my wife watches it without me, and she'll come in and watch it and like, you're just wrong. So she'll tell me all the time that I'm wrong, and that's okay. It's not the first or last time I'll be told I'm wrong in that marriage. So you just go with it. All right. So any other comments? Anybody from out there listening want to drop your good movie or a good soundtrack bad movie? And Prince wins, we know that for sure at this point. And I just think, yeah, some of the movies I would have said, but I actually like them. And I think kind of my runner-up would be Batman Forever. Kiss from a Rose is such a good song, and it's such a bad movie. I despise that movie.
Look at Seal jumping up in here again. I guess if
Yeah.
Seal's in the soundtrack, it might make it a good soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, at least that Seal song is going to be worth your time, and it also has a great song from Sunny Day Real Estate that I love. But that song's actually on one of their regular albums, so it wasn't done just for the movie like Seal's. But yeah, I mean, Kiss from a Rose, I could play that anytime, and I'll still be like, "Yep, I'm feeling this one." The movie, no, I don't need to see. I don't need to see the neon Batman, but. Yeah, we Dash and I, my co-host on my music show, have had fights about that Batman movie, but sorry, it sucks. Dash isn't here to defend himself, so I'll just trash it. All right, so now we're going to talk about some campaigns that are live. So, Max, drop your campaign into the private chat, please, and we'll let Matt go first because he sent me his earlier. So let me get that screen up. And then we have Tatsumi. Let me pull it up for all of us. All right. So, Tatsumi, tell us about Tatsumi number 3.
So, Tatsumi number 3, this is obviously the third in the series that follows Tatsumi. Think Pirates of the Caribbean and the live action One Piece meet martial arts heroines. Tatsumi is on a quest of retribution and revenge against the evil horde that destroyed her kingdom, that left it for waste, raised it, killed everyone that was there, turned them into basically food for supernatural beings. She's found herself having to be in the care of a band of rogue pirates. And it's been fun taking somebody who is an Oniba Geisha from this kind of hidden Eastern community and put her into the care of these pirates, where she has to, learn their culture, because ultimately she's out there trying to find people that are going to side with her to go back to try to wipe this evil horde off of the planet, the Dark Conquestors and the Soul Rippers. This is issue number 3. We are super stoked with where the story is right now. So first and foremost, we think this is a great story. Steph and I are completely behind where we're going with the story. Really excited about where it's going. But if you're someone that wants to go on to Kickstarter and you're there for merch, we have got a huge helping of merch, from standard covers, as you see right there, to metal covers, foil covers, laser engraved wooden covers.
Nice.
There's the laser engraved wood covers right there. The one at the front and the one at the end are both kind of color changing. So if you hold the paint at different angles, you're going to get, like, the one at the end on the right has got green kind of to gray. The one at the front is purple kind of to black. Really well crafted from Sarah over a Definite article. We have shirts, we have socks. Ed was talking about his number of socks. Number of shirts. I think this is the 11th or 12th different pair of socks that we've had in the campaign. We have poker chips. This campaign, we've got our leather workers back. So the emblem that I'm wearing on my shirt, they've actually got a fully wearable leather, like Cthulhu Widowmaker mask that you can get in the campaign.
Oh, nice.
So we're super stoked with all the different merch offerings. But first and foremost, we think that the story supports you wanting to go and get your hands on the merch as well. If the story sucked, if the art sucked, then why do you want the merch?
True.
Yeah, that's right. We have glow-in-the-dark guitar picks as well in this one, because having metal music that's attached to it. We have some glow-in-the-dark guitar picks. We have limited edition foil trading card sets, all kinds of fun stuff. And
Nice.
one of the things that it's been unlocked, there's the fully wearable leather work. How crazy is that?
Wow. That is awesome.
And they're actually pretty comfortable. I thought when they designed it, like, man, this is going to be a mess. But just because, wearing something big and leather, you're like, oh, this is going to be heavy. It's actually probably the most comfortable leather mask that we've had them do for us. We've had horse masks, dragon masks. This one actually wears well. You can see well outside of the mask. I was shocked about how well crafted and easy it was to wear and be able to see out of as well.
Yeah, you wouldn't guess that from looking at it. That's for
Yeah.
sure, because it just feels like it would be your head would be miserable in that. But that is so cool. I mean, I think for me, because I have stories in the Cthulhu Invades Fairy Tale series, that would just be cool on the table, like get eyes to your table, kind of going back to our con thing. If you have the Cthulhu books and you have that mask right in front of it, that would be a good look.
Yeah, you see to the side we have the little baby like Widowmaker, baby Cthulhu keychains, leather keychains over there. So those are going to be fun as well to have on the table.
Yes.
But yeah, we're really excited about this. As we talked about earlier, Efren Ramirez, Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite, actually has a guest character. This is more than just drawing somebody in as a cameo in a single panel. When he asked us a couple of years ago, when he said, hey, it'd be nice to be a character in one of your comics sometime, I really like what you guys are doing. Steph and I designed a character for him. We haven't revealed what his character is because we want that to be a surprise as we go through the issue. But it's based around Efren. This is not like you're going to see, Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite in here talking about, all your wildest dreams are going to come true. It's actually based around Efren. He does a lot of stuff you wouldn't expect. Him and a couple of the guys from Napoleon Dynamite are co-owners of a minor league baseball team called the Mummies. So they just did some stuff for them. He's been in horror movies. He was in a movie called Satanic Hispanics. The most recent one he was just in is called Seven Cemeteries alongside Danny Trejo. So he does all kinds of eclectic things out there. So it fits in with where he's at in his life. He's like, dude, I can do whatever I want. He's like, yeah, this is great. And one of the most interesting things about having him in this is normally when you write and you're like, hey, we like this. We're done with it. We're going to go put it out. When you've got somebody that has their own public facing persona, a Hollywood actor, we kind of had to run by him. Hey, this is what we think about for your character.
Yeah.
Here's the arc. What are your thoughts? And he actually had some thoughts. He's like, oh, that's really cool. It'd be nice if what's his motivation and what's his arc and what is he going to bring to the story? It wasn't just take Efren's face and plop it onto a character. It was, how can we make this character evolve into something that's going to affect the overall outcome of the story? It might be he's going to be a secondary character alongside Tatsumi and the crew of the Side Stalker and the Dark Conquestors and Sorapers, but how can we make that character be someone that's going to be able to affect the primary overall storylines? And we're pretty happy with where we think it's going to go.
Yes. And the link is in the chat. And then after the show on my Facebook wall, I'll have links to all the campaigns as well. So definitely check this one out. I got to be backer 100. I always like to get one of those good numbers. And I was always going to back it, but I just usually wait till you come on the show. If you've booked it, then I know I'll get on there, and I love being one of those cool numbers. So, like number 1, you got a race to be, but number 100, it's like you got to be patient and get that. And yes,
well, we're super stoked with the performance of the campaign right now. We are $199 away from another trading card being added to all physical backers for Silas Silvertooth, who's the portmaster at the Pirates home base. So we get to 8,000. Everybody's going to get one of those cards. Nice. We already know what we're going to do if we get there for the next stretch goal. One of the things that's going to be out there for everyone is we're going to add to the digital version only, like a little 1 or 2 page behind the scenes, how things evolved with Steph and myself and Efren and how that whole thing went down. Just kind of give a little bit of background insight that you wouldn't get anywhere else. Yeah. And I want to make sure that we don't forget. We do have a metal trading card promo with Stabity Bunnies, Stabity Ever After 2. They left their campaign open for late pledges. If you back our campaign, every physical backer is going to get a metal trading card. Nice. Every physical backer of their campaign gets another metal trading card. We have an artist that made a set that's all linked together. If you back both campaigns, that's the only way to get the full set of 3 cards. So you get their card for one, our card for the other. You back both. That's the only way to get the middle card. And so that's helped there to be a lot of cross-pollination. So if you're somebody into metal trading cards or into super uber rare collectibles, because we only print up enough of those metal cards to fulfill both, and then just a few more for future promotions, then go back their campaign at Stabity or tinyurl.com, Stabity EA2, and then back ours at Tatsumi 3, and you can get that full metal trading card set.
Nice. Yeah, those things are always fun. And metal trading cards, that's something I put on my table, and they go quick. I mean, people love the metal trading cards, especially when you have something like that. You tell them, like, hey, there's only a handful of these. You had to do the campaign, so people gobble those up. So yeah, don't sleep
when
on it.
We did this one time with them, with Stabby and Richard Rivera, for a different campaign, and I think overall we only printed up, I think, 51 of the metal middle card, because his campaign had a bunch of individuals, our campaign had a bunch of individuals, and there were some that were together. But we only printed up like 50 of the middle cards. So people were like, holy crap, I've got a metal card collectible, and there's only 50 of those things out there, and most of them went to campaigns as well.
Yeah.
So when they come up in another promotion, people are like, wow, I really need to go jump on that if I want this cool thing. That's the only way to get this Stabity Bunny collectible. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Stabity Bunny. The collector's base around Stabity Bunny is immense. There are collectors out there that go wild for Stabity Bunny stuff. So those things go quick when Stabity Bunny fans hear that there's this other thing out there that they can get their hands on. So if you want one, you got to go back it now.
Nice. Yeah, grab it while you can, because they're in late pledge, right?
Yes, they're late.
They're not. Their campaign is over, and you know you're going to get what you got because they've already had a successful campaign.
Yep.
Pretty sure I backed that one. I got to double check.
Yep, they held theirs open just so that way it could be out there during the duration of our campaign.
Okay. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I got that one, but I will go and make sure because I need the middle card. Sell it on eBay to Stabity Bunny collectors one day. All right, so let me grab John's up here. And it's the Diebold Comics.
Yes, it's the digital library of Diebold Comics.
There we go. Yes. All right. So tell us about this.
I'm doing this one on Fund My Comics. I was trying something different. My next project that we're actually working on that will be launching in the next week, Vampires versus Zombies, will be on Kickstarter. This is through Fund My Comics. Basically, it's just digital only. There's no print version. It's like 16 of my comics. I think there's 3 trades. The comics are $5 a pop. The trades are $10. For $50, you can get everything. It's like almost 900 pages. So I think I figured it out by the comics, the issues. It ends up being like $1.85 a copy. So it's a pretty good price. You know, you really can't beat it. It's got like, it's got Alma, which is What If Buffy Was a 72-year-old grandmother. It's got A Girl and Her Dog, which Tony Isabella, who created Black Lightning, for DC Comics, when it came out, said that was one of the best comics of the year. It has, I have one called Snapshots. It's a collection of short stories. It's got 4 Sam Keith stories in there. I worked with Sam Keith back, before he became Sam Keith, before he, became famous. So we've got four stories in there. I've got humor, science fiction, mystery. I've got a little of everything. So, I write in pretty much every genre. I just, everything is at least 24 pages. Some of them are 48 pages. Some are 36 pages. I don't set a limit to what my page count is. I just kind of start writing, and, sometimes I can do it in 24 pages, and sometimes I end up, adding a few more pages to it.
Yes. And the question is, when are we getting Alma 2?
We are actually working on that. I signed a contract with Source Point Press for that. They're going to do it as a trade. So it probably won't cost them next year.
Yeah, that's great.
Because they do, they're like a year ahead of themselves.
Okay.
And we're having to, finish the first story arc. But so that should be out next year. I'm really excited about that. So
I'm ready. That was one of my early reviews that I did on my YouTube channel. So.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite comics because that had a lot of personal meaning to me. Besides the fact I'm a huge Buffy fan too. So and then I've got starting hopefully this week, the pre-launch for Vampires versus Zombies will be hitting Kickstarter. We're working on that Kickstarter page right now, and it should be ready to go in the next day or two.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. All right. And then, yeah, once you have the pre-launch, let me actually just comment into the thread that I create for all of us at the end of this. And that way people can find it on Facebook. And then, yeah, I know once you're live, we can find you another date to get in here. I know my July is full at the moment, but August is wide open. I haven't started booking for that yet.
That'll probably be August. My plan originally had been to start it at to do the pre-launch of June and then go live for July, but we're kind of going a little back. We're kind of, I actually have some people helping me create the Kickstarter page, so we've kind of pushed it back a little bit so I can get that set up and going good.
Nice. All right. So let me get our next one up. Max, let's pull yours up right now. Tell us about your book.
Oh, well, yeah. Stellar Lands is a sci-fi epic comic. So far, we've done 3 issues, about 42 pages each. And yeah, I'm told that's thicker than your usual floppy. Like I said, I'm very much a novice in this area. I come more from a literary and filmmaking background. But in that sense, that's why the story is very dense. It's each issue follows a different character in this vast sci-fi universe that's embroiled in war and galactic politics. And as a result, I'm not going to leave you with a to be continued. You get a beginning, you get a middle, you get an end, and it'll be narratively satisfying.
Nice.
The first 2 issues have been very well received. Issue 2 got a silver medal at the IPY Awards, the Independent Publishing Book Awards, which is not a comic book award. It's a book award, and the fact that a comic book was able to stand and share shelf space with award-winning traditional novels is kind of a victory to me, because I do get kind of triggered when people say comic books are a gateway to literacy. A lot of people say that a gateway to literature. It's not a gateway to literature. It is literature. And that's the mandate behind a lot of my writing and my world building. And while the 3 issues do follow different characters within the universe, they sort of intersect because they exist side by side with each other. A main character in one issue becomes a supporting character in another issue. And if I could just devote a little bit of time to the 3rd issue, Stellar Lands 3, it follows the aftermath of a civilian space station following an alien attack, and the attack is repelled. The space station is safely evacuated, but now the military is sending in deploying assets in order to recapture some of the intel and military assets. But since it's a civilian space station, there's also cultural assets like museums and art galleries, and therefore it raises the question: what in much the same way the G5ers or the Monuments Men did, are artworks worth risking lives to save, to recapture? And in many ways, one could say they're the most important thing, because if you take away culture, you take away identity, and that's the main dilemma within the spine of issue 3. And there are emotional dilemmas like this everywhere throughout Stellar Lands. And Katie from K-pop Junkie and Triple G Comics as well, they've both admitted that issue 2 made them cry at the end, and that's what you want. You want that emotional, you want that emotional payoff at the end, and that's the scope of Stellar Lands. But the rewards are also beyond that. You could get like a sci-fi bundle from the publisher. They have, I'm with a very talented group, and we're like the 2nd biggest indie publisher in Australia going, and our sci-fi titles are very thought-provoking and very poetic. I mean, one of the One of the bundles features a book called Dead City Lullabies, which is actually written by a musician. Therefore, there's a certain pacing in the poetry when you turn the pages. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, the Wild Sci-Fi bundle. That's that's what I'm talking about over there. But the rest, our biggest seller is the graphic novel. You have all 3 issues, all 3 42-page issues combined with extras. It's 168 pages, and you could get it in this really cool, sexy, perfect bound with a holographic cover. I'm
nice.
really proud how it turned out. And the artist is Ben Worrell. Is an American. He's from Colorado, and it's been an incredible union. He's exceeded my vision in every way, and he gets the dilemmas, and he understands the vitality of the emotional aspect in it. And
Nice.
that's what if you have any questions, let me know. But that's the long and short of the Kickstarter campaign. We hit the target in 48 hours, and the more we get, issue 4 will be assured, and
Nice.
hopefully we do hit that number.
So it sounds like they stand alone on each issue, or each volume, I should say, because they're not more like 24-page floppies. So it sounds good. Art looks good, and I will definitely, when we're done, get in there and back that one, because time is limited. But I'm not doing it right now because I don't need the internet getting my credit card information.
Of course, But thanks for letting me talk about it. I'm really proud of where we are at the moment. I mean, issue 3 is by no means 26 or 10, but I think if we keep running campaigns like this, we'll definitely hit a number. I have a number I have in mind, but hopefully we hit it.
Max, I had every intention of backing your campaign, and I looked when we started the show. I'm like, oh crap, I haven't backed yet, so I rectified that right before we started.
Oh, Matt, I really do appreciate that. And I will. I assume all the links for the
they are all in the chat, and then they'll be on the Facebook page, which is an easier place. I'll do kind of a post with everybody. So thank you, Joey. Hope you're doing well.
Thanks, man.
All right. So I will do a quick bit of shameless self-promotion, because we have Immortal Era launching July 3rd. So it is coming up, issue 12 of the series, which will actually feature a new trade as well. So this will be volume 2 of the trade. Let me get rid of this. There we go. Making sure people don't see all my regular stuff, like all the editing stuff. So let's take a look. Immortal Era 12. This is the volume and the graphic novel. It's pre-launch right now. And Immortal Era is the story of a post-apocalyptic world 200 years in the future, where everybody has gained immortality, but they're not getting the immortality of vampires. They're not getting the immortality of Lost Boys. They age, they get sick. There's a decapitated head who's in the story forced to live forever. And it centers on a group of heroes who are hunting down relics so that they can bring death back into the world and save humanity by killing them. And this is the midway point of the series. So there are a few huge events that are going to happen in issue 12 that will change the Immortal Era universe forever from this point on. And it is in pre-launch. It costs you nothing to hit that notify on launch button. So please do. I was hoping to get 100, but we're at 50 right now. So I'm going to be promoting hard, dropping new videos every day up until launch, so we can hopefully get some people excited about this issue. I'm excited because when you start an indie comic, getting 2 issues out seems like a gigantic obstacle. And now that we're reaching our 2nd volume, because those wait for the trade people, they are no joke. They will wait 4 years for the trade. They don't care. So they've been telling me like, oh, when's the trade? When's the trade? I get my regulars coming to the table, and then they'll buy a sticker or something to kind of wait it out. And now the trade is here. So it'll be volume 2. It'll be close to 200 pages of new material for the people who have been waiting for the trade, and also reprinting the story that I did in the Tales from the Collective initiative, which introduces a main character who will be a huge villain for the 3rd story arc that will be starting later this year. And that is right here. So definitely, if you can, follow that. And like I said, these will all be available on my Facebook page, so you can find them quickly and easily and follow and back all of these ones. You need some socks because we have crazy sock day at my school. I was telling Matt, and I had no crazy socks. I have black socks or white socks. I don't delve into crazy socks, but Matt had all the socks. So I'm like, I have a cool
fill that
pair.
void.
You did. I have a cool pair of alien socks that I can wear on crazy sock day.
Yes.
So I don't look like the boring guy in the room who's walking in without socks. In fact, one of the kids for their end of the year present they got for me, they bought me a pair of crazy socks. You're like, you never participated. That's boring. So now I have 2 pair of crazy socks, but I'm like, you're wrong. I did. I had my good alien socks for crazy sock day this year. So they get worn very like once a year, so they'll last me a while. But when they wear out, I know where to get a new pair of crazy socks because Matt has me covered. All right, so yes, crazy socks are fun, and now I have 2 pair because I think they were like Jolly Rancher socks the kid got me, but they wanted me to not participate because they have all these spirit days, and rarely do I have the things that go with them. Like I don't own a Hawaiian shirt, and they have Hawaiian days, so I'm like, all right, I'll just wear a lei and good enough. So, but crazy socks, I'm in. I'm ready. So Matt, your stuff, your socks are at my school, your books are at my school. They know you.
Dude, and you've got a pull quote on the back of the book that is in your school. How meta do we get?
That is awesome. Yes. So yes, I got the street cred with my 3rd graders because knowing the authors, they think that's the greatest thing. Me being an author, they're like, whatever. You're our teacher. It's like, so what? You write books. You're right here, right now. So obviously, it's not going that well. So. So yeah, I have my street cred because they're like, oh, you know the author and you got his autograph. Now that's cool. So I can get street cred some way, just not by actually writing the books. All right, so we have gone through our topic. So John, tell us where people can find you online.
You can find me pretty much on every social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram. My biggest place is probably Substack, where you can see the address right there. I've been doing a Substack where I write about comics. I put previews up there. Pretty much whatever is in my mind at the time, I use that Substack for. Substack has actually been working really well for me. I've tried different sites before, and I just never could keep up with them, but Substack seems to be the site that has kind of stuck for me.
Nice. All right. And Max, where can we find you online?
Yes, you can find me at Stellarlands _comic on Instagram and Max Verada on Facebook. And you can, jump on our Kickstarter. I mean, I'm really in all the socials on under all those names, Blue Sky and so on. And you'll find a lot of Q&As and extra content regarding Stellarlands there. So there's 3 days left in the campaign, and feel free to find me on any of those socials.
Awesome. All right, and Matt, where can we find you?
All right, first and foremost, for the next 6 days, we would love for you to have the first place you go look for us to be tinyurl.com/Tatsumi3. That is TATSUMI3. That is the campaign that we have running that we want to see. If we can keep the momentum going, it's actually performing well. We want to see how far we can take it, because the higher we get, the more we can give back to you. We believe in the story. We believe in the products. But if you're like, dude, I've heard you talk about this, I want to know about the other stuff you do, go to linktree.com/InSymmetry Creations, INSYMMETRY Creations. That will take you to all of our links to our main website. You can hear our metal music. You can see the music videos for it that all tie back into our different comics. Steph has got over 110 different bylines for sites like Fangoria, The Daily Jaws, Horror Buzz, where she does movie reviews and articles for those sites. There's pictures from when we do events, when I'm #TopHatMatt doing celebrity interviews and things like that. So that's the 2 places, tinyurl.com/Tatsumi3 and linktree.com/InSymmetry Creations. Those 2 links will take you to everywhere you need to go.
Awesome. Yeah, check them out. I have lots of books by Matt and Steph, and they always deliver. So, and I have backed yours, Max. So, looking forward to that. I got the whole trilogy
Thank you.
because I needed that, and that way I can read all of it. And I know, oh man, international shipping, it is no joke, but that's okay. I like physical books, so I bought one. So,
Really appreciate it. And
Yeah, and
and if I could just say something quickly about your
course.
concept, it's so good. Everyone is immortal. I just watched an episode of Cosmos,
okay.
and Stephen Hawking actually seriously said that it could be a real possibility that humanity conquers death and that we will achieve immortality within the space of maybe even less of a century, and it seemed
Wow.
like a common accord within all the scientists who are on that show. So it's entirely possible that your comic book will be examined as a cultural text in years to come.
I like that.
That sounds like a pull quote for you on the back that,
Yes.
your comic book will be a text for future generations. Max Piranha. Boom.
Yeah, my immortality is not. It's not a great state because in the world, basically, they become immortal in the year 2000, and then we jump 200 years, and it's just all the resources are gone. People are fighting each other. The cannibalism is rampant. It's a messy world. So it's kind of like we may achieve it, but do we want that? So there's the question. The scientific question.
Yeah, Hawking said that we'd be like embroiled in eternal colonization, that we'd be so immortal that we'd just be fighting. Yeah, it's really fascinating. It was an episode of Cosmos, but yeah.
Yeah, I got to watch that now.
Yeah.
Grab some ideas that all right, how much more messy can I make my universe? So yeah. So
Oh no,
all right.
you've taken a deeper dive than they did in that show. So
Okay.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Now I gotta look into that. So all right, thank you all for joining us today. Make sure you get out there and back those projects. So how do you eat something that can't die? I don't know. They find a way. They just get the flesh, leave the living rest of it somewhere else. And that gets answered in issue 9. So go ahead, pick it up. It's a one-shot story that answers that question that you have specifically, Joey. So, and the answer is ugly and messy, like most of my books. So the one my kids know I wrote, but I won't let them read it. My students, I should say. My children are old enough. They're 16 and 20. They can read it by this point. All right. So everyone, have a great weekend. Check out these great projects, and I will see you on Wednesday for my music show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Ed. Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Book Break, where we dig into the best books out there in 1 minute or less. Today we'll be looking at Tatsumi the Serpent Mistress, Issue 1, written by Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon, with art by Alessandro Ventura and colors by Alan Emanuel. The story opens with Tatsumi narrowly escaping a perilous attack on her people. As the sole survivor, she desperately takes to the sea where she is nearly drowned. For reasons unknown, she's delivered by 3 serpents to the arms of a pirate ship, whose crew vows to keep her safe. With promises of great riches, she convinces the crew to help her avenge her people from the wretched, soul-ripping conquestors. This issue sets up a grand adventure with a likable but not quite trustworthy crew of pirates and an ominous group of villains with problems of their own. I, for one, can't wait to see what action and betrayal awaits our hero Tatsumi as she attempts to enact her revenge on these unbeatable foes.